Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadroo.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee. Kind of a big day today. I want to talk about a couple things have happened in the silver market, in the Theta market, in the woo-woo market. Let's talk about silver first. The COMEX was closed yesterday. 100% of silver pricing is determined on the COMEX, so they're not going to let anything happen when the COMEX is closed. It's impossible. It won't happen. It's not allowed to happen. Silver is controlled via a computer program that was written, the early ones were written in the 60s and 70s by Alan Greenspan and implemented through Arthur Burns, the head of the Fed at the time. We continue on that path. The path was to control the value of gold and silver so that we can have an unbacked fiat currency. In 1913 is when the Federal Reserve was created, December of 1913. Most people know that if you've done tiny bit of research into the commodities. What you probably don't know, unless you're a Road to Root member, is that the reason the Fed was created was because they found billions of ounces of gold. Billions of ounces of gold in the Grand Canyon. Theodore Roosevelt locked it up, turned it into a national monument. Woodrow Wilson came in and signed the Federal Reserve Act because it would have destroyed the economic system if that gold was released. Think of it, billions of ounces of gold. Back then, there was not even a billion ounces of gold in the world. There was maybe 250 million ounces, but they found billions and billions of ounces of gold. Let it lie, my friends, let it lie, because the system was rigged with the Federal Reserve System all the way up until today. So we have a situation where two commodities, and obviously silver had to be rigged for a different reason. And I'll get to that in a second. But gold, there's massive amounts of gold. I'm not saying the price of gold isn't going to go up. It is going to go up. It'll double or triple or quadruple. As well it should, because of the amount of fiat monetary instruments that have been printed to control the system for over 100 years. What I'm saying is that the price of silver is going to go multitudes higher. Not one, triple, double, quadruple. We're talking 100 times, 1,000 times of what it is today, because it's moving into a freely traded market. That's why I'm screaming right now about the gold-silver ratio. No, it is not going to 20 to 1 or 30 to 1. It will more likely go to 1 to 1 and then flip. As in go 1 to 20, where 20 ounces of gold will buy you 1 ounce of silver. This is not hyperbole. This is if we remove the COMEX, the criminals on the COMEX and SLV and that whole infrastructure. That machine is breaking down right now. With the revelation this weekend that Goldman Sachs said the same thing that Blythe Masters said, except the Goldman Sachs guy said who's doing the shorting on the COMEX. He said it's the ETFs who are doing the shorting. Blythe Masters said from JP Morgan way back when she was making fun of the tinfoil hat people, before she got busted for rigging the energy markets, she was saying that JP Morgan was hedging for clients. Well, now we know who the clients are. They're the ETFs. Is it legal for SLV to hedge something that they don't even own? They are trustee for the shareholders of SLV. Now, if all these authorized participants were actually long SLV shares, I can see how a hedge can be possible, but they aren't. At least they don't list it in the institutional holdings. As a matter of fact, I think one of the highest is Morgan Stanley, but it's not very high. Goldman Sachs has only 1.2 million shares of SLV. How big is the SLV short? How big is the COMEX short? The COMEX short held by Goldman Sachs. And if they are saying, well, we're an authorized participant, so we can do that. No, you cannot. Well, you can, but it's still a naked short, other than the 1.2 million ounces. I hope the CFTC gets this, because it's kind of sad. We got to hold their hands. All right, I want to talk about something really cool. I don't look at price. of silver. It's rigged. We don't know the fair market value of silver, flat out. I do think it's going to 1-to-1, probably first stop. So wherever gold is, if gold comes down when the revelations come out that there's billions and billions and billions and billions of ounces of gold, there's more gold in the world than silver, that might cause a little disruption in gold. For silver, the truth needs to be known. The truth. That's all we're asking for. The truth. Let's talk about the truth. Here's something that was always a pet peeve. If you've been on the road to Ruta of mine, in 2004, this book came out by Jim Rogers. I was a big fan of Jim Rogers. He was a commodity guy. Every time he spoke, I'm like, I get that guy. He knows what he's talking about. Let's not talk about his partnership with Soros or anything else in the past. But let's talk about what Jim Rogers created. And I was the first in line to get this book. It's called Hot Commodities. It taught me how to invest in commodities. In 2004, I was so excited. I had been working for a bank in the commodity sector. We were leasing the large mining equipment. So I had to know my job was to finance the mining equipment. I was the equipment guy. So I'm financing multi-million-dollar deals with large mining equipment, pulling out coal, and it wasn't gold, silver as a byproduct of copper, but I had to know everything. So that's how I got into commodities in the beginning. In the 1990s, I learned about gold, and then I was all excited about this book, Hot Commodities. I'm like, oh my God, I knew about the silver rigging probably 2001. I was into gold in 1999. I'm like, once you understand gold, you understand silver. And you're like, oh my God, what's going on here? And then I heard about Ted Butler later on, but this was the book. I'm like, finally, the truth is going to be told about silver and the investment story behind it. I wasn't fully aware of the hyper manipulation of it, other than we thought it was a couple banks trying to keep the price down because they were short. This book was it. So I get the book, I open it up, I go right to the table of contents because I'm looking for silver, right? That's all I want. Hot Commodities. I was so excited. He was going to tell me everything about commodities, but especially silver. I turn to the index. I'm looking S. Where's S? Oh, Shell Oil, Shanghai Futures, short selling, Matthew Syme. Where the hell is silver? Why isn't it in the index? Well, maybe they lumped it in with precious metals. So I'm looking up precious metals. MNOP, precious metals. Oh, where are the precious metals? Precious metals. It's not here. Gold. You can't do a commodity book without gold. And voila, there is a whole chapter on gold. A huge chapter. It's called Gold, Mystique versus Fundamentals. It's pretty good. Not once is silver mentioned in this book. It's in one table when they're talking about the various contracts that COMEX. Not once. The number one commodity that fulfilled all the metrics that he talks about in this book. Supply and demand, use case, the printing of extra money. Silver should have been the number one chapter in this book. And I'm like, holy shit, he's in on the con. My question was, does he work for the good guys or the bad guys? He has rarely talked about silver at all in the past. Hell, this came out in 2004, 20 years. We have 2 interviews in a row. One with Miles Franklin that Elijah did on January 26th, called Why Have Silver During an Economic Crisis, where Jim Rogers actually talks about silver. It's amazing. He even holds up a silver coin. And then this weekend, we have this one. And listen to what he says. Remember, this guy won't even talk about silver in the most... It was a best-selling book. And he refused to talk about silver, even though silver fulfilled all the metrics of what he was talking about here and beyond. Its dual purpose as a monetary metal and an industrial metal. Silver should have taken up half this book, and he knew it. That pissed me off for years. But now he's come. You think things have changed? Listen to what he says now.
Absolutely. Jim, we always love getting advice from you. Last time we spoke, you liked Indian tourism, agriculture. Of course, you like gold. Has anything changed for you or new sectors of opportunity that have opened up here for you?
Well, silver's better. Silver's still cheaper. I mean, I own both. I own both, and I will be buying more of both. But not now. I'm waiting for the correction, if there's a correction. but I will buy silver and I'll buy more silver.
Holy shit. I'll buy silver and I'll buy more silver. Remember, silver is a tiny market. Tiny market compared to every other market almost. Every other market. There's no silver left. There's a huge silver shortage. And Jim Rogers, the guy who refused to talk about silver for decades, has just come out and said, silver, silver, silver. I want to hear that again. Let's hear it again.
We always love getting advice from you. Last time we spoke, you liked Indian tourism, agriculture. Of course, you like gold. Has anything changed for you, or new sectors of opportunity that have opened up here for you?
Well, silver's better. Silver's still cheaper. I mean, I own both. I own both, and I will be buying more of both. But not now. I'm waiting for the correction, if there's a correction. But I will buy silver, and I'll buy more silver. Silver's down 45% from its all-time high, Daniela. Gold is near its all-time high. Stocks in many countries are near their all-time high.
There's a lot of talk of, triple-digit silver, $100 silver, especially with initiatives like the Green New Deal. Do you see that scenario playing out, Jim?
Well, I do know that the world is moving more and more towards electric cars, whether we like it or not. And electric cars use, for instance, 5 times as much copper as they use in a regular car. So there's going to be more demand, and silver, of course, is used a lot in many of the new applications. Solar energy uses silver. So I'm optimistic about many commodities going.
Way to go, Jim. I got to do some reanalysis of some of the movie analysis I did, especially now that I still think Warren Buffett's going to come out and say buy silver. But this is shocking. This is shocking. This is the good guy, bad guy thing. Clearly, something has clicked that Jim Rogers can now say buy silver, even though in 2004 he could have said it in 50 times as powerful. Now, with people listening, with the world waking up, oh my God, he's talking about silver. This is shocking news. Shocking. And I would love to hear an explanation of why he doesn't even mention silver in his best-selling book, Hot Commodities, in 2004. Let me know the reason, Jim, because I know the reason. It was all a big secret. We're going to control everything. Silver is the bank killer. We cannot talk about silver. This would have never, ever, ever been published. Maybe there's a version of this with a whole chapter on silver. Kind of like Alan Greenspan's thesis that no one's allowed to look at. Still to this day, nobody's allowed to look at Alan Greenspan's thesis, his doctoral thesis. You know why? Because it's called The Road to Ruta. There you go. So, all right, let's get back to gold. When I started finding out about all the secret, now I'm talking about the gold-silver ratio. Obviously, silver has all the reasons why to invest in silver. But one of the biggest reasons that most people don't even think about is how much gold is out there. What should the gold-silver ratio be? I don't even care where the price is of either. I care about the ratio. And that ratio is going to 1-to-1 or better. And I have some spiritual stuff to add to that in just 1 second. But the whole concept of, oh my God, there may be a hell of a lot more gold than they're telling us. They tell us it's about 200,000 tons that has ever been mined in the history of the world. What a huge lie. Jeffrey Christian loves spreading that lie. All you have to do is read the book Gold Warriors. Gold Warriors came out in 2005, right after Jim's book. Gold Warriors, this couple, Sterling and Peggy Seagrave, spent 10 years researching how much hidden gold was found in the Philippines that was used in all the dark ops that the United States of America was running. And it was hundreds of thousands, probably 300,000. They never come to a full conclusion, but probably 300,000. And that's on top of the 200,000. So more than twice as much gold back then when they were doing this research was available. Now, this gold was found in the late 1940s, early 1950s by General MacArthur and his team after World War II. I'm not making this stuff up. All it takes is a little research. All it takes, take Jim Willie, all it takes is a little research. So yes, Yamashita's gold is 100% true. And you know how, and it's not just a book. They back it up with documentation. I have 3 CDs of documentation on the facts behind Yamashita's gold. There's even movies or TV shows about it, documentaries, series about it now. So read Gold Warriors, look at the documentation, and stop saying that gold is scarce. Number 2, Wishes and Rainbows. This is the Bank of Boston comic book of Ruta pushing away these boulders and finding the golden sunlight. It's all about going back to a gold standard. I have outlined this many times on the road to Ruta. That's Ruta right there. The gold is all over this comic book. Gold, gold, gold in the Grand Canyon. They call it Cobblestone Canyon, but it's the Grand Canyon. From my research that I've done, look at, and there's the oil standard. The petrodollar is explained in this comic book. Yes, they need the gold to build the new flowers, and how are they going to get it? And there's Ruta writing 11 plus 9 in the sand, or 9/11. The reason they are stopping this insanity of the unbacked fiat monetary system is to take down the bad guys. Yes, this came out of the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. There you go. Look at the bottom of that comic book. Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. Go to roadtoroota.com. And the day it was released on January 1st, 2007. I have no idea why. This is a spiritual thing. I was at the Bank of Boston website in their educational section the very day it was released. And this was released, the teacher's guide called Road to Ruta. Let me show you the cover here. The teacher's guide called Road to Ruta. And then there was one more. Now, Wishes and Rainbows was released with a huge red exclamation point right after it. And the teacher's guide, a huge red exclamation point right after it. Anybody who wants to debate me on whether the Road to Ruta theory is correct or not, anytime, any day. There is so much more going on behind the scenes than what we know of. And the biggest thing is massive amounts of gold. Massive amounts. There was one more comic book. It wasn't a comic book. It was a pamphlet that was redone from 1987 called Banking Basics. And in that comic book, they showed a little girl cashing in gold coins at the bank. They were ready to go back to a gold standard. 19 gold coins that she has in her hand. She's either handing it in or pulling it out, and there's a gold chart. This came from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. Not only that, but there are 2 stories of how banks fail. One is about housing prices crashing. Did we see that in 2008 or what? And the other is about oil crashing. And did we see it go to negative? Absolutely. But one of the best things is on page 31, I believe. Squeeze right in between these 2. This is called Gusher National Bank. How does it fail? This is from the Fed. And that's a crash in oil prices. And look at this. Those of you who know GATA, the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, they have a painting of Bill Murphy and the gang. I think I'm one of the guys in the gang, charging the Federal Reserve. It's half cloaked in darkness. All the doors are shut. I got it on my wall right over here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's up there. And I love it. It has a GATA flag. The sun's just starting to peek through. All the doors are slammed shut. The Fed's in darkness. Look what they put here. The Fed is in light and the door is open. The game is over. If you don't believe that we found all this gold in the Grand Canyon, go look at my research, please. You can start here with the New York Times in 1912. Tell of vast riches in the Grand Canyon, men engaged in gold dredging, expect to astonish the world. Go down and they talk about the billions and billions of ounces. My favorite line is right here. F.D. Watson, who has been conducting operations for the Chicago concern, has come out of Lee's Ferry to report to his principals and make further arrangements to carry on his work. He declares, quote, that the whole field has been developed. When the whole field has been developed, the supply of gold in the world will have increased by billions. Quote, I know that it will be difficult to comprehend that I have a correct conception of the wealth that is buried in the banks of the Colorado Canyon, he says, but I can demonstrate every statement I make to be absolutely true, and that my chief shortcoming is the inability to comprehend the vastness of riches that lie along this great stream. Now, was it true? Why do you think I go to the Grand Canyon? Do you know one of the most important underwater archaeological monuments in the United States is a piece of metal sunk in the Grand Canyon? The hull of a steamship that they brought from San Francisco. Remember, we're talking the early 1900s. It's like shipping mining equipment to the moon. They brought a steamship from San Francisco into a very remote part of the Grand Canyon to move coal to run the brand new hydraulic mining operation before it was shut down by Woodrow Wilson. Bang, shut the door. As soon as they sign that Federal Reserve Act, we are not releasing this gold. And that's not the only gold, of course. How about Chocolate Mountain gold? Great article. Karen Lee Bixman, no relation. It's called Senator Dianne Feinstein is a Modern Jesse James. They found massive amounts of gold at Chocolate Mountain, California, and Dianne Feinstein stuck it in the Desert Wildlife Preserve like she puts all the gold and treasures of the United States. Federal government owns 41% of California right now. But it outlines massive gold find, massive, and it's locked up. And they expanded and they turned it into the Chocolate Mountain Aerial Gunnery Range. They expanded the gunnery range to cover the entire mountain because they had found gold over here. Don't go in the gunnery range. Who would go exploring if you got all those unexploded bombs? It's brilliant. We have been so lied to. It's unbelievable. So there's massive amounts of gold. Do I think gold will go up in price? Yeah, because there's massive amounts of fiat money. Gold will double or triple, maybe go to 10,000, maybe 20,000. Silver will do the same but more. They had to close the biggest secret military facility in the United States, which is the Y-12 facility during the Manhattan Project. It was up and running, making enriched uranium since the 1940s, since the silver, 3 billion ounces, was pulled out of the U.S. Treasury that was supposed to be backing all these silver certificates and put into this facility because they needed it to make these magnets to enrich uranium. In 1990s, they were running out of silver altogether. That's when Warren Buffett started to buy silver. What did they do? They closed the facility, melted down 3 billion ounces, and put it back into the market. That's where all the secret silver has come from in the last 30 years. That silver's gone now. Welcome to the road to Ruta. Kind of crazy, huh? Now, I've talked about the last 100 years. The future is Theta. The future is Theta. Theta is the new internet. Internet 2.0. Broadband sharing. I hope everybody understands this. Yes, it went up 40x last year. It's going to go up 40x again this year. I have this secret graph. It's not too secret, but I've worked it out through all the technical analysis, through all the woo-woo, through all the crypto analysis. And I did this back last year, at the end of last year, and I have the full graph going out from starting in September, and we are exactly on track. And I overlay it with we should have been at, okay, I'm gonna tell you, we should have been at $3 right around January, February. I had $3 on March 1st, and then it kind of flatlines until April 1st. It goes to $3.50, and then May 1st it goes to $4, and then bang, from $4 to $40 within the next few months. Why? Because that's when we're gonna have the Coinbase adding to Coinbase. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. That just means we can get it cheaper, faster, before America loses out on everything they're doing because of our government. But that's when I think it's going to be announced. After the 28th of April, which is the launch of Mainnet 3.0. And then everybody and their mother is going to be running in, and it will start the advertising campaign. Again, on the woo-woo side, the remote viewing guys said, oh my God, there's like sports celebrities talking about Theta. and how everybody wants to download a Theta Edge node to earn Theta fuel and basically play video games better than you ever played in your life. That esports, they have a partnership with esports. It's the partnerships. That was, my spiritual dreams was like, it's the partnerships. They're going to be announcing partnership after partnership after partnership after partnership. Verizon, YouTube, Netflix, everybody who's in telecommunications. And then all the crypto people are going to say, oh my God, we have to expand the internet. How are we going to do that? Theta. Crypto people, your cryptos will not work unless the internet is fully functional. How can the internet be fully functional if broadband is getting clouded up, so to speak? And then we have edge computing and smart contracts. Yes, I've been screaming about Theta for a long time. I'll probably scream until the end of the year, and then I'm done. If you don't get it by then, I'm pretty much done by the end of the year. I'll probably retire. And I won't retire, I'll change jobs, like I've done many times in my life. What's my new job? I want to be a rock star. I want to go town to town singing songs about crypto. I want to change my name to Glix, Glix. Anyway, I'm going way too long. If you want to learn more about the one-to-one relationship on a spiritual level, I just had a holy shit reading with Jenny Moonstone about the spiritual twins. It's a holy shit moment, and it's amazing. You can get it by joining the private road, which is $2.99 a year. Hit subscribe today. Or she could talk to you about it in person. Go to jennymoonstone.com and book a reading with Jenny. She's awesome. She's amazing at what she does. She'd love to talk silver. She loves to talk Theta, but she doesn't talk silver and Theta on a technical or any other basis other than the spiritual basis. And it's amazing what she's tapped into. So go to jennymoonstone.com and you go right there, schedule a reading, click on it, and she's got all kinds of times open. Let's support our Jenny and set up a reading, and you're going to love it. And you can even ask about your relationships and your friends and your family, and if you want to know what they're thinking, talk to Jenny. She can give you that good, juicy stuff. Or just hang out and chat with her because she's fun to talk with. All right, that's what I got for you. This is Bix Weir, roadtoruta.com. Next week is a huge week. If you got silver, if you care about silver, if you care about freedom, if you care about killing these banksters off, silver is the call. Just listen to good old Jim Rogers that has taken a zillion years to get back to what he should have said in 2004. Or go to roadtoruta.com, listen to my latest song, Pay Me My Silver Now. This is Bix. I'll talk to you later.